In this video, we're going to take a look at the percent proportion. So the percent proportion is a special type of proportion, and as you guys know, a proportion is made up of two ratios. So on the right side here, I have a ratio that is changing the percent into a fraction by putting it over 100. And on the left side, we have is over of, which are kind of our nicknames for comparing the part and the whole. So another word for is would be the part, and another word for of would be the whole. So we have part over whole equals percent over 100. And we can use this percent proportion to solve all different types of problems that involve percentages. The first few that we do here are going to be more straightforward, with working with a sentence and finding the is and the of as our key words. And then we're going to apply what we learned to solving some real life problems. So here's our first example, and I have 12 is what percent of 30. And I'm going to start off by breaking down my sentence and finding my key words. And the first thing that jumps out at me are the words what percent. So that tells me that that's my missing piece of information. I then have 12 is, so that's going to be my part, and I have of 30, so that will be my whole. So I will now take those numbers and I will fill them into my proportion. So 12 is the is, 30 is the of. We don't know what the percent is, so for right now that's going to be an X. And the percent always goes over 100 because we're making it into a fraction. So now we have our proportion. In order to solve the proportion, we're going to cross multiply. So I'm going to start by multiplying across with my variable, 30 times x. And if I multiply 30 and x, I get 30x. And then I'll cross multiply the other way. So I will multiply the 12 and the 100 together, and that's going to give me a product of 1200. So 30x equals 1200. And what you've created at this point is a one-step equation. So I see that I have x over here, and my goal in solving the equation is to isolate x. So since x and 30 are being multiplied, the inverse or the opposite is to divide by 30. And because it's an equation and both sides always have to be equal, if I divide the left by 30, I have to divide the right by 30. On the left side, 30 divided by 30 cancels out. It leaves me with 1x, or just x. And then on the right, 1200 divided by 30 is 40. So this tells me that 12 is 40% of 30. And since my final answer is a percent, I have to label it as such. I can use these same ideas to solve a word problem. So here we are told that a locals mother group conducted a survey of 1,074 youths aged 19 and under about chores. 66% of those surveyed said they do not clean their rooms because they do not like to. How many of the 1,074 youths gave the response? So I have two pieces of information in the problem that are going to become part of my proportion. I have the fact that there were 1,074 youths involved in the survey, and I have the fact that 66% said that they don't like to clean their room. So the fact that 66 has a percent sign after it makes it pretty obvious to us where we're going to put that in the proportion. So I'm going to start there by putting 66 over 100. And now I have to think about the problem told me. Is the 1,074 the entire group, or is it only a part of the group? If it's the whole, we would put it in the denominator, and if it's only the part, we would put it into the numerator. So if I go back and read again, I learned that 1074 is the entire group surveyed. So I'm going to put 1074 in the denominator. And that means that we're looking for the is, or for the part. So what I will do is represent that with an X. And again, we're just going to solve our proportion by cross multiplying. So if I start working with the variable, I have 100 times x, which gives me 100x. Change colors here. So 100x, and then I'm going to bring over my equal sign, and then I'm going to cross multiply the other way, and the product of 1074 and 66 is 70,884. And again, I have a one-step equation, so to get x by itself, I will divide both sides by 100. On the left side, the 100s cancel out, and they leave me with x. On the right side, I'm also going to divide by 100, and I end up with a decimal answer. So I'm going to be left with 708 and 84 hundredths. Now, because my final answer is in terms of people, it would be sort of strange to leave it as is. So I'm going to round that and say that there were 708 youths who said they don't want to clean their room because they don't like to.